We're gonna start. Let's see. The proposition is that we're going to be discussing is mainstreaming of education in America. Where the affirmative side, what we're saying is mainstreaming of education in America should be discontinued. We're gonna be presenting why there's a problem, why this problem is inherent in the system. We're going to be presenting our proposition, our solution to the problem, and why our solution will solve this problem. So basically, beginning with the significance claim why there is a problem. Mainstreaming in America does not work effectively in meeting a solution for both the special needs students in the classroom and the regular students in the classroom. And basically, this breaks down to three components. Students' needs aren't being met correctly, and this is a fact. Special students' needs aren't being met correctly, and this is a fact acknowledged by the deputy commissioner of education for the handicapped. And so this is just a fact. Current students are being marginalized. This is not as obvious, but it becomes obvious because actually the deputy commissioner published a paper called Some Thoughts on Mainstreaming a while back, and he's been the deputy commissioner for a while now, but it's still relevant today, or he says it's still relevant today because it got republished not that long ago, a couple years ago. And basically he just opens the exposition with an anecdote by a little girl where she's talking about how she feels like marginalized because of the work that the other kids are turning in, and she's not at that cognitive stage to understand that these kids have special needs. So a lot of students in the classroom, or not just her, but he goes on to say in general, a lot of students in the classroom feel like they're being marginalized. And as a cause of these two things, you get a disparity, right? That also is not conducive to a good learning environment. Basically, this disparity leads to bullying, and as the doctor mentioned, this has to do with the cognitive ability of the students, because social cognitive ability, according to a study by called social cognitive development during adolescence, states that this development doesn't finish until you're in your 20s. So that's the problem, and that's some of the roots of the problem. So this kind of leads into the inherency claim, which is why the current system isn't working. Some of the reasons why the students aren't being addressed correctly has to do with the bias of the instructor. So in this study that the deputy commissioner for education published, he says that even with proper training, a lot of these educators aren't being trained correctly to meet the needs. This has to do with inherent biases against students with special needs. Basically it boils down to we're all humans, so we're not robots, so we can't completely undo our biases. So we're going to have, whether positive or negative, we're going to have a reaction to the kids, basically. Okay. Is that a countdown or is that?
You have 1 minute.
Okay. Okay. So basically, it says that has to do with that. A study published by the UN on inclusion in general, and in general, there's a section where it talks about inclusion in the education, and it goes on to say that because of the structure of inclusion, that you need monitoring, right? But monitoring for this kind of thing is relatively laissez-faire. Like we don't really follow through with it. It doesn't really work, and since then you could say, well, let's follow through with it. But they go on to talk in the study that they published, the UN, the United Nations, they go on to say that it's too expensive just because of the way that it's set up. So that's a problem with the system. So you're still gonna have this issue. And then referring back to this bullying argument, the bullying argument is just something that gets created by the system, and you can't really fix the bullying argument because the way it's set up right now, you can't address it correctly because just anti-bullying initiatives don't work. So we just need to not create environments that are conducive to bullying. And the reason that anti-bullying initiatives don't work, according to a study published by an education expert, Edmund Christopher, on the Huffington Post. 5 reasons why, few reasons why current anti-bullying initiatives don't work. Basically says the zero tolerance backfires because we're demonizing bullies. You forget that they're, and then he goes on to say that we forget that the bullies are kids. So that's 2. We address bullying with celebrity, not expertise. So we're not bringing experts. We're just bringing like celebrities to sensationalize the subject. And then we keep avoiding social media, and that's not a problem for us when we were growing up, but it's now a problem. So basically, we went to the next part of my argument. Basically, the proposition time. What's the time?
Yeah, 2 minutes.
Okay. So basically, this is how we propose to solve it. We need to create specialized institutions to properly address the needs of both students being affected by inclusion. So we need to do away with inclusion, and we need to make specialized schools to address these issues. Specialized institutions. And I'm going to be very specific here. When we're talking about institutions, we're talking in the context of anywhere from, because you can't make this black and white. This is not a black and white issue. You're going to have a gradient, okay? So it can be a physical school, anywhere from a physical school to programs within schools, but the distinction exists in the fact that there needs to be a degree of separation. So it can be anywhere from separate schools or distinct schools to just the degree of separation that you have in like special learning communities and stuff like that. So, and then as far as the funding is concerned, since special needs are a legal medical disability, it is covered by most, if not all, medical insurance. So if you have a special needs, you can subsidize these kinds of programs. And we've seen that is actually the current case, because a lot of state programs that have special needs programs, so like the special ed kids and all that stuff, a lot of that is subsidized at the federal level and at the state level. Okay, so so we can subsidize it, so money is not an issue. Okay, so so now that we've set up this proposition, basically we believe it's going to work because we did some research, and the Institute of Education Sciences, the nsc.e.gov or whatever, it's on their site, the government site, it has like some statistics published, and it's talking about that the average cost for out-of-pocket costs for like a kid with special needs per household is about, per capita, is $750. So it's not that much. So it's not something that you have to subsidize. And the overall cost of just sending a kid to school that we pay anyway is like $10,000 to $11,000. So marginally, it's not that much. So it's not a lot of money. So it's not a big issue. And the benefits will greatly outweigh this cost. Obviously, we're going to have higher specializations. We're going to have specialists there that are going to be able to address the needs of the people that have been thoroughly trained. Because this is a whole branch of education. Special education is a whole branch in and of itself. So you would hire people that have been thoroughly trained, and then the study goes on to show that they get paid just like maybe $10K more than an actual instructor, or about the same amount. So it's
I got to cut you off here. It's 8 minutes now.
Okay, so that's good because that was it.